Hello, welcome to the virtual session, Introduction to Department of Economics for Fall 2021. Here's our agenda for today. We're going to start with the welcome. Then I'm going to briefly go over academic advising at UTM. Common questions will be answered and academic resources for students. We welcome you virtually this year. We know that most of you will be doing online learning and many of you from other areas. So we welcome you to the University of Toronto, Mississauga. We'd like to start with the acknowledgement of traditional land. We wish to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. For me personally, being an alumnus of the University of Toronto, I'm also grateful for the opportunity to learn so that I can learn more about the Indigenous peoples of Canada and expand my knowledge. So who am I? I'm Frazine Sammy, and I'm the Economics Academic Advisor for University of Toronto, Mississauga. So I'm here to provide information for students, mainly about economics courses and programs, but I can also refer you to other areas of the university. I can also provide academic counseling and goal setting for students, and this is really important, especially for first-year students, to be able to set their goals and work towards them. I can also help you navigate other resources at the university. So this is my email. It's my first name dot last name, frazine.sammy@utoronto.ca, and it's the best way to reach me. Still, we are working remotely during the pandemic, so the email is the best way to reach me, and I am doing Zoom advising sessions for students as needed. So here are some common questions that we encounter, and students should be aware of these really important details for their courses. First one, did you set up your T-card yet? And this is really important. If you have not yet set up your T-card or you do not have a UTOR ID login, it is really important that you do that right away so that you are ready to start your courses on September 8th, which is next week. If you have not yet done this and you do not have a UTOR ID login, you may not get access to all of the components of your course. And this is really important. While some courses will allow access for a short time, not all courses will, and some courses will have a very short time. So you may only have a few days or a week. It's important that you do set up your UToronto email account and your UTOR ID so that you can log in to all of the aspects of each of your courses. The question is, I don't yet have a tutorial, which is TUT, for Echo 101 H5. Will I get a space? So the first thing is, it is important to have a TUT or a tutorial section for Echo 101. That is required. So if you are in a lecture section and you do not have a TUT or a tutorial on your timetable, be sure to add that. If you don't have any spaces available in your section, or if you cannot find a tutorial that doesn't conflict with your timetable, then please contact me by email. We will be adding some spaces in the next few days. So if you can wait until Wednesday, September 8th to see if a space opens that works for you, then that's appreciated. If you still don't have a space as of September 8th, then please email me so we can work that out and make sure you do get a space. And as I said, those are mandatory, so make sure that you do have them. If you are currently on a wait list for the Echo 101 course, you won't be able to select a tutorial as yet, which is fine. And we are also adding spaces to the Echo 101 course, and that should be updated by Friday, September the 3rd. So again, make sure that once you get into the lecture that you do select a tutorial that works for you, and please contact me on September 8th if you still do not have either a lecture or a tutorial for the Echo 101 fall course. Okay, and speaking of which, it is really important that you understand that you cannot change sections after the enrollment deadline in mid-September. So once that enrollment deadline hits, you will not be able to manage or edit any of your fall or Y, which are the full term courses, on Acorn anymore. So please make sure you choose carefully because you will remain in that section for the entirety of that course. And with respect to Echo 101, that's from September until December. So make sure that the course works in your timetable for the entire term. And you should not be enrolling in any kind of course conflict. So if you have a course conflict that you cannot resolve before the enrollment deadline, please contact me right away for the Echo 101. Okay, another question that a lot of students are coming up with, they're looking ahead to the winter session, and they're saying, I still don't have a space in Echo 102, which is the winter course. Will I get a space? So the general answer is you probably will get a space. Echo 102 is a little bit of a different course because Echo 101 is the prerequisite, which means that you have to complete and pass the Echo 101 course in order to take Echo 102. For a variety of reasons, students will start to pull out of Echo 102 and therefore more spaces will naturally open. And as well, if the department sees that there are still waiting lists on Echo 102, we will add more spaces to accommodate as much as possible. So please try to wait a little longer. But again, if you do not have a space as of January in Echo 102, then you should be contacting me to figure out what options you have. Okay, so students who are coming to study from a different time zone, make a schedule that you can keep. And this is really important because you will need to attend these courses synchronously, which means on the time that they're given. And particularly, you will have things to submit and your assessments and participation. So make sure that you are scheduling these courses at a time that is suitable for your schedule wherever you're coming from. And please note that for Echo 101, the term tests will be held on Saturdays. So it's really important that you also understand that your timetable should work not only for your lectures and tutorials, but also for your term tests. And the syllabus will indicate the details for the term tests. So some students were quickly asking about where they can find the syllabus. It will be posted on Quarkus and also on the timetable website, but not on Acorn. So you can just check that out, or once you're in the Quarkus course, you'll be able to see the syllabus in there as well. So just very, very quickly reiterating that there are minimum grades to achieve an Echo 101 and Echo 102 in order to study economics at UTM. So if you simply pass the Echo 101 course, that is not enough. You do need to achieve a minimum grade, and the minimum grade is 63%. So you need at least 63% for programs, and certain programs you need 70%. These details are in the program entry video, so you can check that video out if you have more questions, but please make sure you understand. This is also for each course, the 101 and the 102. You need to achieve the minimum grade in each course separately. It's not an average, so if you get 50 in one and 80 in the other, that doesn't count. You need to get at least 63% in each of the two courses. And the same thing goes for the math, and it is a different minimum grade depending on which math course you are taking. So please make sure you check the math course number and then find out the minimum grade. For Math 135 and 136, the minimum is 50%. And for Math 133, the minimum is 63%. So these are for the Echo Major, Echo Minor, International Affairs Specialist, and the Echo and Paul Specialist. If you want to do the Financial Economics Specialist or the Economics Specialist, those are slightly higher. Okay, so a few tips for success in year one. Students in third and fourth year often say these kinds of things. Oh, I wish I did this in first year. I wish I had known this in first year. So now you can hear it and know it. And some of them seem really obvious, but you'd be surprised at how many people don't do it and then decide later that they wish they did. So number one, always go to class. And this is particularly important for online learning because it is very tempting not to go to the class on the time or to skip through it a little bit. Do not do that. Always go to your classes. And when you are in class, pay attention in the class, close all the other windows, cut off all the other distractions, and try to focus and be present in that course. Number two, read a little every day. And this goes for definitely your content and your textbook material, but also for your life. Try to read a little bit every day. Reading is one of the best ways to learn and also to keep up with the material so that you're not falling behind. And this way you're not pressuring yourself to try to catch up on several chapters worth of work, within the day or two before a term test. Particularly important for Eco 101, which is a very short course. It's only 12 weeks. So if you don't start studying until week 3 or 4, you're already a quarter of the way into the class, and that's too late. So definitely start to pick up on it as soon as possible. And number 3, ask for help early. And this is really important as well. A lot of students think that they're supposed to just know everything and that it's going to come really easy to them. If you don't understand something, if you don't have access to something, if there's something due and you get a 0 and you don't know why you got a 0, please be sure and talk to someone, ask your TA, your instructor, or contact me as your academic advisor, and let's see what we can do to figure out your situation. So top 3 on the advisors list. So these are, if I walked around to all the advisors at U of T, I would see that they have different tips that they give students. These are the top 3 that seem to come up often. Number 1, write down your academic goals. It's actually surprising how many students don't have any academic goals that are concrete. Saying, oh, I just want to do well in my first year isn't quite enough. You need to be very specific about what you want to achieve and how you want to achieve it. And if you have a goal, then you're more likely to achieve it. Number 2, use the resources available at UTM. There are a lot of resources at University of Toronto, and being a UTM student, you still have access to most of the resources across the university. So make sure that you are using them, especially in your first year. Do not wait until your second or third year to check them out. And I will give you a short list for ones that are really important in your first term a little later in the session. And number 3, enjoy your undergraduate experience. It's a little bit of a stretch maybe to say that it should be fun all the time, but it should certainly be enjoyable. And if you are finding that there is little or no joy in your undergraduate experience, then talk to someone about it. Maybe you need to shift your approach a little bit so that you are finding something that is beneficial to you and that you do enjoy. And lastly, 3 things to add to your schedule. And this, if you can do these every day, it's to your best. Number 1, start each day with gratitude. If you can start each day on a positive note, then you are more likely to have a positive day. Number 2, include some healthy activity, such as going for a walk. And this is particularly important if you are learning online because it is more structured around screens. So the more activity you can schedule into your day, the more likely you are to do that. And number 3, talk to family or friends. And I will emphasize the friends because it's really important to make and keep friends. I hope that most of you will be able to still meet your colleagues, your coworkers, and your classmates for this year. So please do reach out to others. And it's really important to create friendships and to strengthen those bonds over the year. Okay, so now a little bit of a serious note. I'm just going to go a brief explanation of what GPA is, which is called grade point average. And your GPA is very important because it is what determines whether you are in good standing and also may impact your ability to get into certain programs. So one thing of note that some students don't realize is that passing courses isn't enough. If you simply pass a course, which means you got 50% or higher, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing well. So for example, a student here got 50% in a course, so that means their GPA entry is 0.7. And if you did that on all of your courses in first year, you would actually be in academic risk and probably put on probation and potentially under suspension. So it is really important that you're understanding what the GPA is and how these numbers impact you as a student. So another student did a little bit better and got 60% on all their courses. Their GPA entries for each course was 1.7, so their average was still 1.7. And although that is much better than the first one, it still doesn't land them in good standing. So a GPA of 1.7 actually does not even allow you to graduate with honors. So it is really important that you understand, and this goes back to the goal setting that we were talking about earlier. And another student got final grades of 70% in all of their courses in first year, and they achieved a GPA of 2.7. So this is much better. A 2.7 is well within good standing and does allow a lot more program options going forward. And just briefly, I know a lot of you did watch the video already, which explains program entry, but just briefly, after a student completes at least 4 credits in first year, including the 2 required courses for entry to economics, it still says Eco 100 on here, but this is now 101 and 102 half credits, then you can apply for program entry at the end of summer 2022. So I talked briefly about academic resources at UTM. Here is a list of 3 key resources that I think all students should check out in their first term. One is the RGASC, which is the Robert Gillespie Academic Skills Center. And particularly what you should be looking for there are the FSG, which are the Facilitated Study Groups. And they have lots of workshops on study skills as well as test prep. So I highly recommend that students check that out as soon as possible. And another resource is the UTM Library, which also includes the Finance Learning Center. So the FLC does offer several workshops for students, and they are particularly more geared towards students who are studying economics, commerce, or management. And the UTM Library also holds an exam bank. It's called the UTM Exam Repository, and you can find that on their website. The UTM Career Center is someplace that students should actually check out, not in their final year or their third year, but actually in first year. In addition to things regarding employment job listings and preparation, there actually are a lot of opportunities for students to explore during their first, second, and third year. So I highly recommend that students check that out during their first term so that they don't miss out on any of the opportunities.